Wrestling is a good cyclical tool, which basically means after a period of time, you can recycle some ideas, and because they are so old, they feel new again. This has worked for years as well, which is why today I, Simon Miller, am going to jump into this bag of tricks, and it's 10 gimmicks that need to come back right now. Number 10, Repo Man. That's right. Now, people still think I'm kidding about this, but I'm not. I will tell you to your face, Repo Man is one of my favorite characters ever. And yes, I know it's totally goofy, but that is the whole point, because I remember the first time I saw Repo Man, a light bulb went off in my head, and I was like, oh my gosh, pro wrestling. You can do whatever the hell you want to do, and as long as those in charge do agree, well, the world is your oyster. That's great. It also means you can have fun and be wonderfully creative, and I actually think you could do the repossessed gimmick today. I mean, take somebody like Joe Gacy down in NXT. I bet he would love to steal other people's stuff and then pretend he just found it. Whatever you want to say. In fact, that's what they should do. If nothing else, I will be the 2024 version of Repo Man. I mean, I do wrestle, so if you would like to book me, you can just leave a comment down there. I'll turn up, and anybody you want can kick my ass. That's a contract. Also, I do just want to give a quick shout out to Barry Darso, because he's a wonderful man. Love him. Number 9, the vampire. So this one is always difficult because when you do introduce spooky wooky elements into pro wrestling, some fans melt down. I do understand this. If you're trying to suspend your disbelief, but it just makes it quite hard. I suppose when it comes to wrestling vampires, the most famous of these would be somebody like Gangrel, and he is still working all over the world. So it kind of did all right by him. You could also make it a little more intricate in 2024, and actually even take inspirations, I know, from something like Kevin Thorne back in WWECW. Now, as stupid as it was, and it has been lost to the passage of time, when you actually go and listen to Thorne and what he wanted to make this character, he did want to give it a little bit of an edge. Sadly, he was fighting a losing battle. Powers that be wanted silly though, so silly is what we did get. But you could take elements of this and give it to somebody like Karrion Kross. I mean, he often comes across like he does have magic powers, and he too is spooky wooky. I wouldn't be against it. I mean, the absolute important part there is Karrion looks like he could whip your ass. Doesn't even matter what he is doing outside the ring. And let's just bring Bray Wyatt back into proceedings. I mean, this kind of sums it up. You do have to have that creative twinkle in your eye if you are going to pull it off. And while Wyatt was definitely 1 in a million, somebody else will come along soon. So if you think this is going to work, pull the trigger. Number 8, the locker room snitch. So a lot of people do remember the fact that Joe E. Legend did have a run in WWE, although it's become a trivia question this year because it happened so fast, if you blinked, you missed it. But I genuinely think if you pick the right kind of a guy, and they could be somewhat of a locker room snitch who hears things backstage and then goes and tells management, that could be quite funny. It's so easy to make this kind of person an asshole too, or you could completely update it and give it to someone like R-Truth, because 1, he never misses, and 2, he would make this so damn funny. How many times do I have to tell you, I don't want to watch all this wrestling in a week and not laugh once. There's also the version where somebody is super malicious because they want to take down their colleagues, and it is something that everybody can relate to. I mean, how many times has this happened in people's places of work? I also think the fact that WWE is trying out a bunch of new stuff production-wise could work here, because you could tie it into the fact you do have an individual who just wants to be pushed to the moon. They don't give a shit about anyone else. I mean, in many ways, you could even say that does exist, and that we call it a work shoot. Number 7, the resident conspiracy theorist. So even I'm a bit worried about throwing this one back out there, because I think the most recent one we had in WWE was Sami Zayn, and I'm still waiting for that documentary. I mean, it's literally been years. As always, though, you can go and use social media to push this forward as somebody does rant and rave on the internet. And even once again cross this line by saying, hey, I'm not getting X, Y, and Z, because all this crazy stuff is going on behind the scenes. Now, you do have to tread lightly with this one, otherwise it does become too nerdy. But actually, we've kind of done it with 2 of our tippity-top stars. I mean, both Roman Reigns and Charlotte Flair have sort of crossed this line, because they have made accusations that the hierarchy is out to get them, but don't do it with main eventers. Find someone that has never been given anything, and let them start spouting off, and you may be able to turn them into a mini-star. Number 6, the rapper. So Max Caster has proven over in AEW that this can totally work, and yes, I'll put my hands up, I agree with you. Sometimes he has gone a little bit too far. It's not like the same wasn't happening with John Cena either. I mean, go and watch some of his early material. Flub me, it's unreal. Given that there does seem to be a portion of the wrestling audience that is WWE focused though, and that it's been almost 2 decades since John Cena was doing this, surely the time has come to reintroduce a rapper to world wrestling entertainment. Now, he was so iconic with this, of course there's going to be comparisons and people going, oh, we shouldn't be doing this. But as long as you pick the right human being who can drop some bars, well, eventually I think it'll be fine. So with that said, at the moment, I don't think that person does exist, or I may not even be thinking about them. I wouldn't have called it for Cena back in the day, but that just means you write it down in your notepad and you wait and see. And don't tell me that the NXT environment wouldn't work with a gimmick like this. It would be hilarious. Number 5, the social media influencer. So this one is nuts, because it was over a decade ago when Zack Ryder decided to use YouTube and social media to become a megastar, when WWE went, yeah, we don't want you to do that, and killed his push. The thing is, social media is so much bigger in our lives right now. Why aren't we doing this even bigger? And I know we've had the guy that goes out there and goes, well, I'm going to take a selfie, but that is just touching the surface. I want someone to jump right in. I mean, maybe WWE is still a little bit worried because Ryder did go supernova, but that just means you have to plan it in from the start. I mean, have this person go on YouTube and break down their matches. Make sure they're inviting everybody onto their lives on Instagram, and they can even be doing the TikToks where they do the blind ranking WWE superstars. I mean, as long as it's all signed off by the actual people running the show, who cares? And the key is to treat it seriously. Don't act like it's a joke, otherwise you'll be telling this bunch of people, ha ha ha, you shouldn't be doing that, you're an idiot. I mean, there's not even a point going lol online guy, because we're all lol online guys now. While I've probably forgotten someone, when I do ponder this, I can't think of anyone that has gone this deep in 2024 with it. So if somebody would like to, please do, before the fitness freak. No, I don't think there's any way to actually make this work without it being comedy, but that's okay. Nova was doing this years ago, on some random days. I still watch him on YouTube, but I don't even know why. I mean, that Simon system was good stuff, although I may be a little bit biased. And of course, in 2024, as it should be, you do have to be careful about body shaming, but it's actually more amusing if this person goes after Jack guys. Like, imagine walking up to Bobby Lashley and saying, hey, Bob, do you want some of my special protein? Which sounds terrible out of context. Lashley can look at him and go, what do you think, you absolute goober? Even if you did want to take it the other way, as long as it is the heel persona who gets wrecked all the time, you'd like me to get away with it and get the message out there. Once again, stop being a dick. Kind of strange that we haven't done this. Again, I'm going to bring NXT into it. Well, I suppose Brindley Reese is a little bit like this. We shall see. Number 3, the magician. I actually understand this from a WWE perspective, because in the mid-90s, we tried this with Fantasio, and it was so terrible, he accidentally started a fire. Once again, though, WWE is going all in with its production at the moment, so if you had a magic character, well, ipso facto. Again, I think it's probably better to go in the carrying cross direction, as opposed to a guy with just a wand going abracadabra. But at the end of the day, if you want to experiment, why not? So yes, I suppose this may be another spooky wooky one, but we'll just go back to what we said earlier. Make it more Undertaker than Papa Shango. Don't have anyone bleed green blood. That's why we're scared of doing this, because that's what people think we are going to do. Well, I have the answer, just don't. Number 2, the stunt double. Aaron Stevens, who played Damien Mizdow, actually talked about this recently in an interview with Chris Van Vliet, and it just reminded me, well, what a flubbing good idea that was. Now, I get this was a moment in time because him and The Miz just found great chemistry together, but once again, it is in the wrestling vault, and there are a bunch of people right now who have the personality that they could pull this off. It may actually be the making of it. I mean, somebody like Chelsea Green would be great with this, and she's already with the right tag team partner. If she started imitating every single thing Piper Niven did, I tell you now for free, I'd laugh. Pretty Deadly would be so good at this as well, and they need a story as I am saying these words. And honestly, I could just go on and on and on, because WWE has a roster filled with people that would be able to pull this off right now. So we should do it. I'll wait right here. Number 1, the Legend Killer. Enough time has now passed that we are far enough away from the previous Legend Killer, which means a new Legend Killer can rise and kill a bunch of new legends. Makes sense. When Randy Orton was doing this back in the day, though, and going after the likes of The Undertaker and Mick Foley, it just made him such a badass heel, especially because you looked into his eyes and you knew he meant it. You wanted to finish these guys. If you do find somebody who can have the right chip on their shoulder, there are, of course, a bunch of new legends, as we just referenced, because that's what happens with the passage of time. I mean, of course, the final match is already determined as well, because the new Legend Killer can face Randy Orton at WrestleMania. It's just one of those gimmicks that will always work after a period of time, because it goes like this. We've done it with the Attitude Era guys, so now we'll do it with the Ruthless Aggression guys, And in 20 years, if we call this current era the reality era, well, then you could do it with the reality era. It just goes on and on and on and on and on. We're always going to get a reaction too, because the brand new younger fan base will recognize these people. And now, admittedly, it's starting to sound like gibberish, but you take my point. This is why I put it at number 1 too, because anybody can do this. You just need to find someone you do want to give a mega pitch to. Bob's your uncle. Away we go. Now, of course, please do click the video on the screen to continue your What Culture journey. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Leave a comment below. I'd appreciate it. And also, put your CVs down there. Maybe you're the brand new legend killer. I look forward to seeing you soon.